Hey guys, welcome to the Ramsey Paul Show. It is October 2nd, a Thursday. Thank you so much for being here. I do the show every day. Please, if you haven't, like and subscribe, share the link with your friends because YouTube's not going to recommend me. So I count on you guys, and I'm independent. I don't have a sugar daddy backer, or I'll look for one. I'll take one, but I don't have one. So I just give you the unvarnished truth. And we'll just start right into the day. Today is day 2 of the government shutdown. Oh no, the government shutdown. How will the illegals get their medical care? Well, they still will get it. That doesn't stop. And that's a point of contention in the shutdown. I talked about it yesterday. The Democrats are like, what illegals getting medical care? That doesn't happen. They're not on Medicaid. No, that's fake news. And the Republicans explaining it. But one of the big issues is the Obamacare, the subsidies that help a lot of middle income people to get insurance. So that's another big issue too. So we're in day 2, and it should get pretty interesting. But I want to start with another story that is a little bit of, I guess, a white pill. Over the past couple of days, we've seen, I think, a greater awakening of the danger of basically 2 groups that are very destructive to America: the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, and the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center. And years ago, they used to have, pretty good reputation. I don't think they deserved it, but in the mainstream, the normies, oh, the ADL, they're just protecting our poor Jewish people from attacks on them. And, who's against that? Who supports attacking some guy that has a deli in New York City? And, oh, racists are attacking me. Of course, people don't support that. So, oh, that's good. And you think of the SPLC, you think, oh, just little black children are trying to go to school carrying their math books. And then these rednecks with a Confederate battle flag are threatening to lynch them. Oh, the South is so horrific. And, people in the North are like, oh, yeah, this is horrible. Yeah, we got to support the SPLC to stand with the little guy. And so it had that image. And the SPLC years ago, they went after what was left of the Klan. In case you don't know, there was various iterations of the Ku Klux Klan. And the third iteration, the last one, was pretty much wiped out in the 1980s because of legal actions and so forth. So it doesn't really exist anymore. It hasn't for, 40, 50 years. People still like to pretend it exists, but it doesn't. So that's where they got their fame. But then they started to go into other areas. Their definitions of what was a white supremacist or a hate group or anti-Semitic, it kept growing and growing and growing. And I didn't know that. I started to do my videos and I'm like, hey, I'm just an American. I just give my point of view. You may agree with me. You may not agree with me. Sometimes I change my point of view. But if you don't like it, you just don't have to watch it, right? It's just that's the way it is. But what happened, these groups like the SPLC, they put me on their hate map. You're full of hate, Ramsey Paul. I'm like, hey, I like everyone. I just think, maybe white people should be allowed to live. Christians should be allowed to live. Everyone should have a right to their homeland. Oh, that's hate. That's hate. So they put me on the hate list, which a lot of other organizations then use in order to justify deplatforming you. I think that's why I got banned from Patreon. I never did anything bad on there, but these little bastards, they put you on this list to try to blacklist you, because this is how they operate. They deal in very dirty tactics, and it's very un-American. So it's one thing to try to protect your people against attacks. I get that, but they've expanded the role is to try to shut down and hurt, in some cases with violence, anyone that they disagree with. And they just label it hate, and you need to shut it down. And so we saw this with the ADL, came under a lot of attack recently because they had Turning Point and Charlie Kirk as a hate group, Now the ADL has taken that down. But this is how crazy the ADL has become. So unless you adopt all of their positions like Israel first, we got to eliminate white people, Christianity is bad, we got to promote homosexuality. If you don't have those positions, you're full of hate. And the SPLC is very similar. And people with a big platform like Elon Musk have been commenting on this. And here's an example that Elon Musk commented on this. We cannot let the SPLC get away from pushing the same rhetoric about Charlie Kirk and Turning Point as the ADL. They're very similar, the ADL and SPLC. In May, they called TPUSA a hard right group, filed under a report about dismantling white supremacy. So they considered under the category white supremacy, whatever that means. They really never defined what that means. And in practical terms, a white supremacist is a person that says, it's fine to be whatever race you are. In fact, it's okay to be white. If you're white, you don't have to apologize for it. It's okay to be white. What? You said it's okay to be white? Hate, Nazi, put them on the hate map. And then they run around, try to deplatform you, debank you, their usual shit they do. That's what they do. And so anyone that has a political view different than them, they try to harm. And this is what the SPLC did. Turning Point USA, a case study of the hard right in 2024 under dismantling white supremacy, that somehow Turning Point USA is a white supremacist organization. And it's interesting, both the ADL and SPLC, they never use the term Jewish supremacist, even in Israel, which is a Jewish ethno-state. I mean, to get into Israel, to become a citizen, you have to be Jewish. They have an ethnic requirement. It's not even religious. You can be an atheist, but if you're Jewish, you could come in. Otherwise, get the hell out. And you see what they're doing to the Palestinians. So you think they'd be against that? Oh no, we got to support that. But what? You think Germany should be for the German people? Hate! That's the way they go. And I think people, I've always known this, and people in our circles have always known this, but this is getting very much a mainstream audience now that are seeing the problem with these groups. And again, here's Jack Poso. As a reminder, when the FBI went after Catholics, it used the SPLC articles as their probable cause for placing us under federal surveillance. So what happens, a lot of Catholics say that like the traditional Latin mass, and the SPLC, who are disproportionately Jewish or atheist, they definitely they hate Christians, ones that believe their faith. And so these groups, this is a problem with these groups like the SPLC and ADL. It doesn't matter. I don't really care so much that they have a different opinion and they want to write about that, maybe have conferences, whatever. That's America, right? You have a different opinion, you state your opinion. But they operate on a different level. They worm their way into government agencies to try to hassle people and groups that have a different opinion of them. So let's say if you're a conservative Christian group that believes homosexual marriage is wrong, they'll put you on their hate map. And because they work with groups, or they did previously, no longer, with the FBI, then the FBI will be doing what they can to hurt your organization, place informants in it. And also when they put you on a hate map, then it gets their Antifa, who they're adjacent with. And Antifa, by the way, they've been declared a domestic terrorist organization. Both the SPLC and the ADL, especially the SPLC, have a lot of close ties with Antifa. And so they put a group on the hate list or someone on the hate list. That's like giving a green light to assassinate these people. And that could have played a part that caused the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Both the SPLC and the ADL were going after them. And this has happened before. Based on the SPLC hate map years ago, the Family Research Council, a Christian organization, was attacked by a nut, and they killed a black security guard. So these groups, they just don't have their opinions, because no one gives a shit if you just have your opinions. But they actively try to hurt people that don't share their opinions. And that's un-American. That's actually a civil rights violation. We as Americans have a right to our religion. We have a right for free speech. We don't have a right to harm other people, but we have the right to speak freely. The ADL, SPLC, their philosophy is no, you don't have the right to speak freely. That's hate speech. Yes, we support free speech, but we define free speech as whatever we like. Anything we don't like, we call hate speech, and we're going to do everything we can to destroy you, including illegal things. And by violating people's First Amendment rights and trying to harm them financially. I mean, how many people have they harmed? It's incredible. But the good thing now is people are starting to see this and they're like, wait a minute, why should we get our advice from the ADL and SPLC? The ADL, the head of the FBI has already called them out as being a disgusting organization that illegally spies on people. I think the SPLC is in the same category. So we're seeing a high level recognition by people like Elon Musk that these aren't just left-wing organizations that happen to have a different view. And again, I don't really care if you have a different point of view, that's fine. That's part of being America. No, they're taking their views and trying to harm people. So I know this is cliche, but imagine if the roles were reversed. If you had a Christian organization that not only opposed Judaism and Jews, but they actively look to kick Jews off banks, get them deplatformed, try to get them out of Hollywood, and try to blacklist their books and burn their books or take down their videos. This is the equivalent what the ADL and SPLC does to white Christians. It would be a scandal. It'd be a civil rights violation. And this is what is happening. So I hope a lot of organizations now will look at this, like, do we really want to take advice? Like PayPal, they partner with the ADL, who they allow on their platform. And ironically, ADL has been called by the FBI as a horrible organization that has done un-American activities. SPLC has done the same. Why are they still on there? Why should they be advising groups what is hate when they engage in the most disgusting hate possible? In fact, in many cases, they advocate genocide. That they won't admit it directly, but they want to eliminate whiteness. They want to eliminate white people. They don't want any white homelands. They want to break that apart. But their ethno state, Israel, you better support their Jewish ethno state. Otherwise, you're an anti-Semitic Nazi. And people are starting to see through this. So I got to give this a white pill that people are speaking up. I mean, it used to be people like myself were like a lone voice in the wilderness. I wasn't the only one, but now more and more people are seeing the evil that these groups are and it's not their beliefs. Again, I don't really care about their beliefs. Is that they engage in illegal activities, trying to blacklist and censor people because of their beliefs. That is un-American. All right, we'll get into the shutdown now. And so here is an interesting exchange, because the Democrats now are acting like, oh, we never wanted to provide Medicaid to illegal aliens. What are you talking about? That's just a Republican talking point that has no basis in reality. Oh, really? Oh, really? Well, let's just take a look at this here.
I haven't heard anybody in my party saying that illegal immigrants should get access to the health insurance marketplace.
All right. So this is the typical Democrat. This is their talking point. I don't know what you Republicans are talking about. I haven't heard anyone in our party, any Democrat suggest that illegal aliens should get on government health care. I haven't heard that. Where did this idea come from? The Republicans are just crazy. And this is the talking point they're doing now. And let's see the response here.
I'm glad you said that. Actually, I have some tape of your Democratic Party members saying this on the debate stage. So they've all said, and let's play the clip.
A lot of you have been talking tonight about these government health care plans that you've proposed in one form or another. This is a show of hands question.
So this is 2019.
And hold them up for a moment so people can see. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
So they all raise. Is there anyone that doesn't have their hand raised? Everyone, well, maybe this guy doesn't. Maybe there's one guy that doesn't have his hand raised. But everyone else proudly has their hand raised that, yes, people that break into our country illegally, that are breaking our law, so they didn't come through the proper process. They jumped the border. They're like, fuck you and your laws. We're coming in. Yeah, we as a taxpayer citizens should have to pay for their health care.
Senator, that's literally every member of your party, from moderate to more progressive, that have said that in the past.
So, I mean, that's pretty damning. And as I said yesterday, technically you'll hear this talking point that illegal aliens, or as the Democrats will call it, they call them undocumented immigrants. So they just lost their documentation or something. Where's their documentation? No, they're illegal, but they think it sounds better. but technically they are not on Medicaid. It's not like they sign up and have their Medicaid card. I don't know. Do you get a Medicaid card? I've never been on it, but that's what poor people get on for their health insurance. Medicaid. They're not on that. But what happens is Jose and his wife and their kids, someone has like a runny nose. I think Juan has the flu. So they go to the hospital, the emergency room, and they wait. And then the little kid gets looked to see if he has the flu or not. And they're like, oh, we can't pay. We don't have any insurance. So what happens? The hospital, they by law have to treat them. The hospital eats the cost. Those costs that the hospital has eaten, they pass on to Medicaid. So Medicaid is paying for it just in a roundabout way. And it's pretty crazy. All right. But Trump is using this opportunity now to try to figure out what to do, even more cuts. And Trump said, I have a meeting today with Russ Vought, he of the Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are a political scam, he recommends to be cut, and whether or not those cuts will be temporary or permanent. I can't believe the radical left Democrats gave me this unprecedented opportunity. They are not stupid people, so maybe this is their way of wanting to quietly and quickly make America great again. So Trump is basically saying, hey, unless you get a deal on this continuing resolution with the government, I'm going to make some more cuts here. Trump likes to negotiate. Unfortunately, I don't think those cuts are going to happen, but that is what's up. All right. The other big news today is, and this started with Elon Musk, is people started to show a lot of real sexualized content for children based on Netflix. Netflix, they promote a lot of like LGBTQ, interracial, homosexual marrying, the whole bit. So let's just take a look at this guy. He had a commentary on this. Benny Johnson, here we go.
Why this Netflix cancellation campaign has gone so viral, with hundreds of thousands of people canceling their Netflix subscriptions, including Elon Musk. It's the number one trend in the world, and Netflix has lost billions of dollars in their stock. You can see right here an absolute collapse today. The reason why this is actually happening isn't your standard red versus blue political issue. It's a lot deeper than that. It's a moral issue. Have you seen what Netflix has been putting in their children's shows? This isn't like we're trying to push one way or the other. We want Democrats to win. We want everyone like socialism. Like, it's not like that. Okay. Open borders even. It's so much worse.
Well, they're doing propaganda because the Christian point of view of this country was founded on is you have a man and a woman, they come together in a marriage, they have children. That is the basis of civilization. These cultural Marxists, what they used to be called, they want to break up the family. And one of the ways they do that is by promoting LGBTQ stuff, like two men can get married, or three men, or some kid that's 3 years old, he could be turned out he's in the wrong body. So let's sterilize him with the hormones. And again, is to break apart the family and the foundation of civilization. It's fundamental.
They're sexualizing children. It's got to be the single most radical thing you can do, the single most morally indefensible thing you can do. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to play you all the clips. I'm going to show you what they're putting into their programming. That's why this has gone so viral, because Netflix has truly crossed the line.
So that is what Netflix is doing. And it's everywhere. But see, from Netflix's point of view, is they want to try to normalize homosexual marriage. They want to normalize transgenderism. Maybe one day they want to normalize bestiality or whatever they call that. I wouldn't doubt that. And there's so many clips to show on, but let's just take a look at a little bit of this propaganda. And I think it's good if you sit down with your kids and just sit down and explain how this propaganda works. There should be workshops that we have in schools that teach how these people that control the media use their propaganda. And I haven't seen this clip. I think I might have seen it once, so I'm not quite sure what it is. But let's just take a look at it. Right now, there's a Black woman, like doctor, I assume. So right away, because she's a Black woman, I'm assuming she's going to be the wise, empathetic, good person.
It took a while, but we finally found a file for a Bailey Del Vecchio. Is 32 Burn Hill Road still the current address? Yeah. Have you been giving him fluids? If he's dehydrated, we'll need to place an IV. Have him change into this. I don't want. Well.
I hear someone's not feeling well. Let's take a look at the little man.
Can I please talk to you two outside?
All right. So I'm surprised the Asian woman isn't the empathetic one. You have the doofus white doctor that doesn't know what he's doing. And then you have the strong, empowered brown girl is going to try to correct the doctors because the doctors called the boy in bed who is pretending to be a girl, a boy.
I know that you guys are busy, but as you would see, if you looked at her and not her chart, Bailey is not a boy.
Well, Bailey is a boy based on the chromosomes, everything about it. Bailey may think she's a bird. He may think she's a boy. She may think she's an angel. It doesn't matter. She is a human female.
And by treating her like one, you are completely ignoring who she is.
I guess it's a he. It's a boy trying to be a girl. But the same thing applies. You can't change your sex. And this is important in how you do medical treatment because there are differences based on your sex.
You're making her feel insignificant and humiliated. And that's not going to help her feel good or safe or calm. So, from here on out, please recognize her for who she is. And if at all possible, could you find me a non-blue hospital gown?
I apologize.
So she lectured these stupid doctors on because this boy thinks he's a girl, they have to go along with it. So it's just really crazy. But this is a type example of Netflix propaganda that they're doing it. And there's a lot of pushback that they're going to try to look at this. We'll take a look at this here. I don't think this sort of stuff at all should be allowed.
The Netflix leadership being asked to sort of testify over this radical sexual ideology.
Every time we're on, I always say I'm going to do something that makes news. Here's what I want to do on this one, because the First Amendment and all that is involved in it, of course. Let's get on it. I'm going to follow up with my folks after we get off, and we'll call them and say which committee can they be brought in front of. Is who I think what we have to look at, who regulates the FCC.
Well, the core of this, I don't really care anymore. We're fighting for our lives. We can't allow this subversion anymore. And we have to do distinctions between us and them. And people that are promoting this subversion, they do not have constitutional protections. They don't protect ours. We're in a state of basically an early war going on. And we can't allow this degeneracy and attacking children in this way, the propaganda aimed at children, to go on. So, yeah, that needs to be dealt with harshly. And getting back into the propaganda that is done, and again, this was, I think, a television show that was postponed because they were about to release this television show called The Savant. And it's this woman that's supposed to be brilliant. And she works for a secretive ADL unit that they're going on this thing called 4chan to try to find these evil white terrorists. And meanwhile, when they're about to release the show, it was actually a left-wing guy that was into transgender, furries, murdered a right-wing guy. But this is everything they do. This is the propaganda, how they lie that most violence is right-wing. That's a lie. They miscategorize it. And these guys are liars. But this is the type of propaganda they like to put out. So all the stupid women that see this, it's good that we have the ADL and their secret group to find all these right-wing terrorists. That was the whole point. This propaganda is where we really have to fight against and shut it down. Shut it down. They shut us down. We need to shut them down. And an example of how just straight out anti-white the ADL is here. They define racism as a marginalization or oppression of people of color based on a socially constructed racial hierarchy that privileges white people. So this is the old canard, only white people can be racist. You know, it by its definition, it's almost a racist idea, but this is how they look at it. So the worst thing in the world is racism. Only white people can conduct it. Fuck you. But this is what they do. And it is pretty crazy. And then the final one, ironically, because it wasn't even a white guy. So while the ADL is demonizing white people, just today, a Arab from Syria, so he's a British citizen, who gives a shit? He's a Syrian, he's not British. His name was Jihad. I shit you not. His first name was Jihad al-Shamami. Rammed his vehicle and pedestrians outside Heaton Park Hebrew congregation in Manchester today during the Yom Kippur services, and then he stabbed victims before being shot dead by police. So it was a terrorist attack in UK, not done by an evil white man, but done ironically by a Muslim, which a lot of these organizations like the SPLC and ADL, they want to import these people into countries such as Britain. Then they come in and they attack their own people. But I don't really think they care that much as long as they can break up these countries. So, yeah, quite the irony there. So, guys, again, thank you so much for being here today. It's great doing these news updates. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.